Hi there! If you're someone with too many interests, and because of this, you cannot really make a decision between all of your interests because you're so passionate about all of them and you would want to pursue all of them, but because you're so passionate about all of them, you cannot really make a decision which interest to pursue. And in addition to this, not only that you're passionate about all of your interests, you're also quite talented in all of your interests. So this makes it even harder to make a decision between all of your interests, which interests to pursue. And probably you hear this advice from other people quite often that, hey, don't make it so complicated, just choose the interest that you're most talented in. But since you are talented in so many things, this advice doesn't help at all. Some people might call us as jack of all trades, but I found a much nicer way to call us. And these are multi-passionate and multipotential. Being a multi-passionate basically means that you are passionate about many things, you are having many interests, and while this is great, it's amazing, but the side effect of it is that it comes with quite a heavy weight, which is you struggle with making decisions. And being multipotential means that you don't only have many interests, you also have many talents, that you could do a lot of things and good. And the side effect of this is that it's really hard to choose what to do. With these two traits, being a multi-passionate and being a multipotential, the common thing that they have is that you feel like you're a little bit stagnating and staying at one place because you can't make a decision. And the main reason why you can't make a decision is because you're afraid to make the wrong one, because you have so many interests and you're like, oh my god, if I do this, if I decide to pursue this interest, what if it's the wrong one? And then you might be thinking that I don't want to live with the regret of knowing that I should have gone for the other interest. Then at the other hand, you don't want to make a decision because you want to pursue all of your interests that you have. But because you are not making the decision, you are staying in the analysis paralysis stage, you are not proceeding further, so you're not developing into a person you're supposed to become, into your fullest potential, because of not making that decision. But the thing is that for us multi-passionates, the approach to making decisions and making that big life decision regarding your career and what to pursue in your life, it should be done a little bit differently. I personally have struggled with this a long time, couple of years, maybe even longer, with them making the decision. I had so many interests. Like sometimes I feel like I could do it all, but also when I start to really think about it, it's not so many interests in the end that I actually have. It's quite many, but not so many. And the thing with me is that I can get excited about many things. For example, at one end, I hate engineering and I couldn't see myself as an engineer, and honestly, I wouldn't be a good one. But at the other end, if someone brings me engineering in a very nice way, in a very well marketed way, then I can get really excited about it. And this is exactly the trap of being a multi-passionate, because you can get interested in many things and that's your gift, but it's also your curse, so to say. You have to stand your ground, you have to know yourself very well, what is actually your thing and what is not your thing. And this only comes with experience. What I struggled with in my life, and I think a lot of multi-passionates do, is that I, in my opinion, wasted quite many years in this analysis paralysis and trying to come up with the right decision and what is now really the thing that I should do and what is really now the right thing. And I read so many books on this topic and I thought that someday the answer will just come to me, and somewhere in those books, between the lines or in chapters or wherever, they will give me the answers and I will finally know what I'm supposed to do with my life and what is the calling and what's the interest I should pursue and what is it that I should do in my life. But then the days go by and the answers don't come, and one day I heard this nice quote that the only way to figure out what you want to do in life is by doing. And it's so simple, but it was so effective. It was an entrepreneur, and this entrepreneur had like many businesses, and someone asked her how to know what to do in your life, which interest to pursue, how did you know that you want to do what you want to do? And she said it so well that the only way to know what you want to do in your life is by doing, by trying everything you want to do. It's so simple, but it was such a big moment for me when I realized that oh yeah, actually that's so true. I can't figure out what I want to do with my life just by sitting at home or at school or writing to my journal, trying to, like write all of your interests and then be like, what do I really want to do? This when you go to Pinterest or Google or wherever and then you Google this, how to know what I want to do in my life. And always this so stupid advices, write into your journal, write all of your interests, and then from those interests that you wrote there, pick 5 and then ask yourself, what do you want to do and what would you do if you would have no need to earn money? And there are so many journaling methods you can journal about discovering who you really are and what you really want to do with your life. But then when you write these questions into your journal, they don't help, because at the end of the day, at least that's my personal experience, I realized they don't help, because when I do it, I end up writing all of my interests and I cannot make a decision. And if I will describe how it feels, is that it's like a shoelace that is tied, but it's tied into so many, it's like a mess and you cannot get it open. You cannot like resolve that shoelace that's a mess. You know what I mean? Every time when I would write all of my thoughts and all that mess from my head on a paper, just a second, there's something in my eye and it's not nice. Okay, it was my hair. So I had a therapist with this. If you are going to listen to one person regarding having too many interests and being a multi-passionate and that struggle, it's me. Literally. I had so much trouble that I even had a therapist for this. I remember I was telling her that the way I feel is that I have so many interests and I have an anxiety because of it, because I cannot make a decision and I feel like I'm lacking behind in life, because kinda I know what I want to do, but kinda I don't, because kinda I know that life I want for myself, but kinda I don't know which decision to pursue or interest. And then when I try to journal about it, it's like this mess, this shoelace mess that I try to resolve, and then I'm writing every possible option and outcome. I come to a point, I come to a conclusion, but then I close the journal, I wake up next morning and the mess, someone tied that shoelace so fucked up again. You know what I mean? It's a mess of shoelaces in my head again. And then I start again. And if I look into my journal, I'm writing exactly the same things, exactly the same conclusions every day. And it's like, if you read that, you're like, okay, this is just pure anxiety, And what I'm trying to say now, so I struggled a lot with this, and I feel like I figured a way to live with this and how to find success in life as a multi-passionate, because people with one interest, or like there is no people with only one interest, but there are people who are more able to make decisions, are more dedicated to one thing, especially when it comes to career, and they are able to do it. There are people who don't necessarily need fulfillment through their career, and that's so great. But for someone as a multi-passionate, it is harder, and the path to success is different. You can try to live your life by making one decision and live according to it, but I am quite sure that you will be deeply unhappy at the end of your life. So what I figured out as a multi-passionate is that the approach to your life to growing into your fullest potential is different, and that is something I want to talk about today in this video. I want to share my tips for you, how to find success as a multi-passionate, how to find peace of mind, and how to proceed further in your life to grow into your fullest potential. I made a video on this topic already previously, which is called Day in the Life of a Multi-Passionate, and that video is more like where I'm sharing how does it feel to be a multi-passionate and basically the day in the life of a multi-passionate. So if you want to check that video out, you can check it out after this video. I will link it up here and down in the description below. Actually, this video is a continuation to that video. That video was Day in the Life of a Multi-Passionate, and this video is how to find success as a multi-passionate, and what I'm sharing is the actionable tips that I found that helped me a lot as a multi-passionate, and hopefully they will also help you. If you're new to this channel, my name is Katarina, but you can also call me Kat, because that's much easier, right? On this channel, I talk about how to live your best life, how to be the best version of yourself, how to grow into your fullest potential, and I want to encourage you to chase your dreams and just squeeze everything from life. And I'm also trying to include some day in the life, chasing dreams vlogs on this channel, but that stuff I have those vlogs like from last year filmed, but I really cannot find the time to edit them. But I'm trying and I want to get them out. So soon there will be also vlogs. But yeah, if you're a new one here, it's so nice to have you here. And if you are someone who already subscribed to my channel, I am so happy to have you back. Okay, so let's start. I already mentioned one tip in this video, that the only way to figure out what you really want to do in life is by doing. Another tip that I want to share is you have to make sacrifices. If there is no sacrifices, there is no victory. This sounds now quite lame after everything I just said. And before you get upset and leave this video, let me explain, and give me more than 2 seconds, because this is a little bit hard to explain. This is something that Jordan Peterson talks about actually, that in order to build something great out of yourself, you need to make sacrifices. You need to give up on other things that you want to do in life. But the journey to this as a multi-passionate is a little bit different. You cannot just be like, okay, I only decide to do this one thing and I give up on the rest. This doesn't work like this. And I'm going to explain it. So Jordan Peterson says that you have to make a decision on the one thing that you want to become great in. So as a very logical outcome, this decision would require you to let go of all the other things you would want to do in your life or want to become. It is true, and it's a fact, and it's the reality that you can become everything you want to be. But the question that makes this sentence a little less heavy is that why would you want to become everything and have it all? You cannot become a good doctor and a good lawyer during one life. But also, why should you? Why should you study half of your life for both of these degrees and then work the other half of your life when one of those will be already more than enough? Why should you study fashion and economics both at the same time when deep down you know that what you really want is fashion? I know that you will say that it's either for the safety reasons that you choose to study also economics in addition to fashion, or you're going to say that your parents want you to study economics to have the security in addition to your fashion degree. But if you're someone who knows fashion industry, we both know that in order to have a good career in fashion, it's possible. But in order to have that, you need a good network. And what will give you that is the fashion degree, the fashion school, not the degree in economics. And this is what I mean with that sacrifices are required. You simply don't have the time to have it all. Because becoming a lawyer and becoming a doctor during a lifetime at the same time, if you have these both desires, you're most likely motivated by making a lot of money, which is fine. It's totally fine, but those both careers will give you more than enough, so why should you have them both? And when it comes to fashion or studying economics, I noticed that really often the motive for going for economics is the safety. But let me tell you a story about myself. I wanted to become a fashion designer all my life, but I also had many other interests, yes, but deep down I really knew that I want to study fashion design. But I didn't go for that fully 100% because I had this thought behind on my head that I need to study business because I also want to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be an entrepreneur also all my life. And the reason why I decided to go to study business degree is because I thought that it, first of all, is more beneficial for me and that it will give me more security. And then I was also thinking during that time when I was applying that, hey, but I will also then, after I graduate my business degree, from my business degree, I will also then after that go still study fashion. But once you have already one degree, you realize that studying it's fun, but you don't want to spend half of your life studying. It's just enough. Like one degree is already enough, honestly. This is basically my realization after I graduated from my business degree. I realized that, okay, if I now go also studying fashion, like I will be already so old, and then I also need to build a career, and like, oh my god, what the hell did I think back then? In addition to this, I also realized something else. So let's talk about the safety. So I also studied international business or business degree because of thinking that it will give me the safety after graduation, that it will be easier to find myself a job, that business obviously has more jobs and more security in the job market than fashion. But we nowadays live in a completely different world where, for example, our parents used to live. Obviously, during the time when our parents were young, yes, there maybe wasn't so many fashion jobs. Maybe fashion wasn't the most smart degree to go for, and definitely economics or business would have been much, much better to go for. But nowadays we live in a completely different time. The job market has turned around completely, and it's nothing like it used to be then. So what I faced, what I noticed, what I had to go through is that I graduated and then I started applying to jobs, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be easy. I'm gonna have a job in a month. I applied to so many jobs, like 100 plus, even 200 plus, and I barely got answers. Also, I went through few interview processes, and those interview processes got me completely, like, I was so shocked of what the hell is going on in the job market currently. I went through a 3 months interview process. It was an account management role for a company in Finland, like a startup for sustainable materials. And I was the perfect fit. It was an entry-level job. They required experience in fashion industry, which I have through my job at Zara, through my internship at Naked, and then another internship in Amsterdam. So literally, when I was reading the requirements, I ticked every requirement. It was through a recruitment agency. So the company hired a recruitment agency, and that the person from that agency was like, you're a perfect fit. And they were like hyping me up for that position. They were like, you are so perfect, you are fitting this role so perfectly, you are going to get it. I was of course excited. Then I went to the last interview and I was like, yeah, I was already looking for apartments in Helsinki, and I was like already moving in almost, because I was so sure that I will get it. And then I get a call that, hey, sorry, but we didn't choose you this time because we decided to go for someone with more experience. For someone who had 10 years of experience, and they settled for the entry-level salary. We were surprised ourselves, but yeah, we decided to change the requirements of the job application in the middle of the recruitment process, and we're sorry that we didn't let you know earlier. Oh my god, this got me so crazy. At that moment I was like, okay, I want to take control of my own life, and I want to build a life that I don't need to run after these recruitment agencies and try to lick their asses, and then to be said that, okay, we didn't take you because we decided to take someone else because they had more experience, even though we had an entry-level job. But hey, we decided to change the requirements in the middle. Okay, I'm still mad, but let it be. So what I'm trying to say here is that during the time when I was applying to plus 200 jobs, I realized that, okay, the job market nowadays is in the place where it doesn't matter what degree you have, unless you're like a doctor or a nurse, because those are quite required jobs now. But it doesn't matter what kind of degree you have. It will be a struggle to get yourself a job. It's the same whether you had a fashion design degree, or you have a degree in economics, or you have a degree in international business or finance or whatever. It is going to be hard to get yourself a job because the job market is currently in such place. And then I remember I was saying to Rick, to my boyfriend, that if I would have pursued the career I really wanted, which is fashion, I would have not been this broken while applying to jobs, because I would have at least known what to fight for, you know? And most likely I would have even gotten job quicker because I would have been actually motivated to get myself a job. I don't know if I'm explaining this well. I hope I am. If you pursue a degree out of need instead of out of passion, it will be visible in your interviews. People will sense your energy. People will see it, because energy is everything. And if you are applying to job just because I need to get a job because I graduated this fucking degree, the interviewers are gonna sense it. Whereas if you pursue the degree because of passion and you're so good in it because you're so passionate about it, the recruiters will see it and they will sense it, and most likely you will land the job for yourself even quicker than if you pursue a career out of need. So with me saying that you need to make sacrifices because Jordan Peterson said that, and Jordan Peterson is smart. No, but he has a point there. With that being said, I'm still going to refer back to this sentence that the only way to figure out what you really want to do is by doing. It's because you have to go through that process before you make the sacrifice. As a multi-passionate, you have to first try yourself in different things before you can make that sacrifice. That's what I figured. So the quicker you start doing different things, trying all of your interests, the quicker you will be able to make that sacrifice, and the quicker you will find success. I assure you, once you start trying all of the things, all the desires and fantasies you have in your head, because I'm going to tell you that some of the things you as a multi-passionate have in your head regarding your interests and career and visions, whatever, are fantasies, and you will realize it very quickly when you start doing things in your life. So I really advise you to stop spending too much time in this analysis paralysis and thinking, what do you want to do? Start doing. Then you will really quickly realize and figure out what is it that you really like to do and what is it that you actually don't really like to do. So basically, our interests, they fool us. We romanticize our interests and the life around them. We think that if we work a certain job, we will be happy. So for example, for me, if I will work in fashion, that's the thing that will make me happy. And if I will be doing something else, my life will be awful. So for example, if I will be a cashier, doing a cashier job, I will be miserable and unhappy. And in exactly the same way, we also tend to think, we as a multi-passionates, that if we don't manage to pursue all of our interests during the lifetime, we will end up old, unhappy, and grumpy, angry little old woman or man. But all of this happens in our imagination during our self-analysis, and most of it is not even likely going to happen and is not even true. Thing is also that the more you don't want something, the more you attract it. The more you think you will have something, the more you will get it. So if you will think that, okay, if I'm not going to be able to pursue all of my interests during my life, I will become old and grumpy, angry, old lady. Well, probably that's exactly what you're gonna get if that's what you're gonna manifest with your thoughts. The fact is that when you think like this, you probably didn't yet do a thing towards pursuing your interests. You were just sitting in this analysis paralysis phase. So you didn't even get to know whether you actually like your interests. And this brings me to my next tip. The more you do, the more you know. The more you spend time pursuing all of your interests, trying and doing them, the quicker you will realize which of those interests you actually like, which is again referring back to the only way to know what you want to do in life is by doing. So this is basically that. Get yourself in the action of those interests instead of the analysis. Actually, I don't want to talk about this any longer in this video because I talked already quite a lot about this. It's basically repeating just the same stuff, so I don't want to sound like a broken record, and just that you also get the most value out of this video. I already talked a lot about this, so I structured this video a little bit differently, but I already ended up talking a little bit more about this. So whatever. Conclusion is that the more time you spend doing and trying your interests, the quicker you're going to figure out what is it that you actually want to do. And now I'm going to move on to my fourth tip, which is don't be afraid of making wrong decisions. The wrong decisions, especially in the beginning, are going to be the blessing of your life. I know it's going to be hard in the beginning. The thing is that there are no right or wrong decisions. It's really true. The decisions that might feel wrong are just redirection. They are redirecting you on your right path. And that's why you should absolutely not be afraid of the wrong decisions. There are no wrong decisions. There are only lessons and experiences. Don't be afraid of the wrong decisions, because every decision you're gonna make in your life is going to teach you more about yourself. Only by making those decisions, whether it's the wrong or the right decision, only that way you're going to know who you are and where should you be walking to. Because you will also, when you start doing this, you will also quickly notice that usually one thing leads to another, and that other thing leads to another thing, and that's how the ball starts rolling towards your true life purpose. And most likely your life purpose or whatever is even something you could not imagine of right now. That's why I think that the ability to think and plan the future is a curse, which I also made a video, by the way. I'm gonna link it here in the description below, so you can also check it out if you want to later. But something that gave me so much comfort back in the days when I was afraid of making decisions is knowing this, that you can always change your life. No decision, unless you're of course cuffed into a wall, but I don't know what kind of decisions you are doing or what kind of life are you living if you are going to end up like that. But unless you are cuffed and chained into a wall, you can always decide to change your decision. You can always turn around and you can always change the direction. No one is tying you into that decision. You can always change it. If you don't like something, if you make a decision and you notice that you really don't like it, you don't like how your life is going, you don't like how things are going, you can always choose to do something else. Let's say you decided, okay, I'm going to start studying chemistry. I don't know. And then you started studying chemistry and you realize that you really don't like it. Well, then you can decide to study something else. You can always stop studying chemistry and start studying something else instead. But the nice thing there is that now you know that you don't like chemistry, and that's a blessing. Those are the realizations you need as a multi-passionate. Our journey is different. Our journey is the journey of self-discovery, and someone might call this stupid or useless, but I think it's the most useful thing you can do for yourself, because when you as a multi-passionate find yourself, that's when you make the greatest contribution to the society and you're not sacrificing on your mental health or anything else. And now I'm moving on to my next tip, which is like this method to quickly figure out what to study. If you want to quickly figure out, if you want to just make the decision now and you don't want to go on the journey of self-discovery and try all of your interests first and then get to know yourself better, and you just want a hack now that's gonna help you right now to choose one of your interests, here's what I'm going to advise you to do. Instead of writing
all of your interests on the paper and then picking 5 of them.
What an advice, I'm going to give you something hopefully better. Think of a subject that is super easy for you to learn. You literally just have to open a book and you already know everything. So basically you just need to read something one time and that information is sticking with you. You already know everything about it. For me, this was nutrition and health and human body science and sports. This was like the topic for me. If I opened the book, I already knew everything because I was so interested in it. So this is usually something that's at least going to be easy for you to get a degree in and get very good in it, because it requires so little effort from you. Since it's so easy for you, most likely you are then super passionate about it, because otherwise it wouldn't work. Because then if I compare myself reading law books, it's not going so effortlessly. Or another example is that it was super hard for me to read anything or learn anything regarding geometry. Thinking about these things, that what is something that goes so effortlessly for you, which kind of subject goes effortlessly for you, and which subjects you struggle with a lot, will give you direction and will give you understanding of what kind of person you are and what kind of person you are not. So with me knowing that I can't stand geometry, or it's not that I can't stand it, I just don't have the patience and interest to resolve those geometry things, it gave me understanding that engineering is not at all for me. And this is something I also advise you to think about yourself. Okay, I know this video is getting really long and I actually didn't make it any better by splitting these videos into two, because at the end of the day this video actually also came up quite long. I'm sorry for that, but I hope this video has been packed with a lot of value, and if you have enjoyed this video so far, I would really appreciate it a lot if you give this video a thumbs up, because that's gonna help with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more content from me, if you feel you're vibing with my content and you want to live your best life possible and squeeze all the best things out of your life, out of your one life that you have, please consider subscribing to my channel as well, so you're gonna see more content from me. Okay, I have still 2 tips left and let's get going with them. The next tip I want to say is social media detox. Take a little detox from social media. I talk about this quite a lot on my channel, but if you still haven't heard me talking about this, here is why. The thing is that I feel like, and I don't only feel, I know it's true, is that when you are on social media, we spend quite a lot of time on social media, and we see so many things during 5 minutes. We see so many different lifestyles. We see so many different people. We see so many different people doing so many different things. They look all interesting. So you as a multi-passionate, you're like, okay, that girl is a psychologist and she lives that kind of life. Oh, I also want to live like that. And I also like, it kind of looks interesting to become a psychologist. Should I become a psychologist myself? Or you see a girl, oh, she has her own business. That looks fun. Should I have my own business? Or you see someone working in finance in London and you're like, oh, that looks cool. That's what I want to do. Or you see a person working in philosophy, being a professor at a university, and you're like, that looks fun. And all this happens in like a matter of 5 minutes, you know? This gets us quite messed up. This is also something that gets us away from our true self. Social media numbs our own inner voices. It disconnects us from our truest self. And it can be very disconnected, especially if you're not a conscious person and if you spend a lot of time on social media. It's quite bad, most likely. And in order to regain the connection with yourself and to hear your inner truest voice again, take a social media detox for a few weeks, if not even longer. Just don't go to Instagram, no Pinterest even, no TikTok, especially no TikTok, because that feed, the scrolling feed on TikTok is insane. Also maybe YouTube, although YouTube is a quite different social media platform because it doesn't showcase the different lifestyles the same way as Instagram and TikTok, for example, does. But still, at least Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, all of these lifestyle social media apps, take a little detox from them. It's really beneficial to regain that connection with yourself. What I noticed for myself when I was younger, I really wanted to be a personal trainer, but I remember that at that time I was really interested and really into like health and nutrition and sports and healthy lifestyle, and I of course followed a lot of people on social media who were personal trainers or were these health influencers, sports influencers. So because of that, I really wanted to be a personal trainer when I was younger, but then I always, when I was like, okay, should I now pursue it, I was having this little bit like block inside of myself, like this weird feeling like like it's like rusty metal scratching, you know, that feeling inside. I don't know if you know what I mean. Something was off. Like I wanted it, kind of, but then when I was thinking to pursue it, something was off. Now that I am older and I don't follow anymore these sports influencers, I still have my health habits and everything. I'm still super interested in nutrition, but I don't have anymore the need to become a personal trainer at all. I completely even forgot about that interest that I used to want to be a personal trainer. So then this is when I started to realize actually more and more that, hey, this is what social media actually does to ourselves and our interests, and this is how it fucks up with our interests as well. Then I started to realize, okay, that some of my interests are not even actually mine, but they are actually triggered by social media. They came from these social media apps. So that's fine. Okay, then the last tip that I have for you, and it's not even actually a tip, it's more like a quote. I don't know. It's just like a nice thing to look forward to. The older you get and the more interest you have tried, the less interest you will have. So what I mean with this is that the older you get, the more defined your interest will be, because a lot of your interests will drop. And that's a nice thing, especially if you learn to be true to yourself and understand that what interest is triggered by what, like by social media or by something else. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.